I grew up in a small suburban neighborhood where Halloween was the biggest night of the year. Every house had decorations, kids running around, fake cobwebs on trees, orange lights everywhere. Except for one place. It was an old two-story house at the end of the cul-de-sac. No one ever saw anyone go in or out. The lawn was always overgrown, and the windows were covered with yellowed curtains. But that year, I think I was around 13, someone had placed a single carved pumpkin on the front step. Its candle flickered, faintly, like an invitation. My friends, Mark and Jeremy, dared me to go knock. We were already high on sugar, running around with plastic swords and vampire masks. I remember laughing as we walked up that cracked driveway, the gravel crunching under our sneakers. The closer we got, the quieter everything felt. No crickets, no wind, just this eerie stillness that made the back of my neck prickle. I hesitated before ringing the bell. It didn't make a sound. It just clicked. We waited. Nothing. Mark whispered, "Maybe it's empty." Then the door creaked open. Just an inch. There was a dim light inside, like from a candle, and this smell, old wood and something sweet, like burnt sugar. A woman's voice came from behind the door, soft, tired. "Take one," she said. A bowl slid into view, filled with candy wrapped in faded paper. I reached for a piece, said thank you, but she didn't reply. I caught a glimpse of her hand holding the bowl, thin, pale, with long fingers that looked almost gray. Then the door shut, slow and quiet. We ran off laughing, telling each other we'd just trick-or-treated at the haunted house. When I looked back, the pumpkin's light was out. That night, my mom made me dump my candy on the kitchen table to check it, like she always did. When she picked up the piece from that house, she frowned. The wrapper was dusty and discolored, like it had been sitting somewhere for years. She told me not to eat it and threw it away. I didn't think much about it. Until a week later, when Mark showed me something on his phone. His dad had been checking footage from the GoPro strapped to Mark's chest. He'd been recording our Halloween. When we reached the silent house, the video looked normal, until the door opened. On the frame, you could clearly see that the woman's face was there for just a second. Only her face didn't have eyes, just two dark empty holes where they should have been, and a wide cracked smile. Then static. The screen flickered for 2 seconds and cut out completely. Mark's dad deleted the footage that same night. We never went trick-or-treating on that street again. But sometimes, when I walk home late on cold October nights, I swear I can still smell burnt sugar in the air. When I was 12, Halloween night was the highlight of my entire year. That October, my mom let me go trick-or-treating with my cousin Ryan, just the two of us, for the first time. We lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood, mostly families, and people always went all out for Halloween. Glowing jack-o'-lanterns, fake fog, creepy music blasting from porches. We'd been walking for almost 2 hours, and our pillowcases were getting heavy with candy. It was one of those perfect chilly nights. The air smelled like smoke and wet leaves, and our breaths came out like mist. Most houses were starting to turn their lights off, but down at the end of the street, we noticed one porch light still on. The house was unfamiliar, dark red bricks, no decorations, but there was a small wooden chair by the door, and on it, a man in a black hoodie. He wasn't wearing a mask, just sitting there, completely still, a big black duffel bag at his feet. Ryan slowed down, whispered, "Dude, should we skip this one?" But I was greedy. We'd come this far. One last stop couldn't hurt, so I went up the steps and said the usual line, "Trick or treat." The man didn't answer right away. He slowly opened the bag, reached inside, and pulled out a smaller brown paper bag, folded shut, stapled at the top. He handed it to me without a word. I said thanks, out of politeness. He just nodded, and I noticed his hands were shaking slightly, like he was cold. As we walked away, Ryan said he didn't like it, that the guy hadn't spoken, hadn't even smiled. We both laughed it off, pretending not to care. When we got home, my mom told me to leave my candy bag in the kitchen. We'd sort through it in the morning. I fell asleep around midnight. At about 3 a.m., I woke up to the sound of my mom's voice calling my name from downstairs. She didn't sound angry, just confused. When I went down, she was standing by the table staring at that brown paper bag. It was open. Inside weren't candies, not all at least. There were a few wrapped sweets, but at the bottom of the bag was a small Polaroid photo. It was a picture of me and Ryan. from earlier that night. We were standing at the edge of the street, holding our pillowcases full of candy, but the photo had been taken from across the road, from the bushes. And right behind us, in the photo, was the man with the black hoodie. My mom froze. She asked if I'd talked to him, if he'd said anything. I told her no, just that he'd given me the bag. She grabbed it, sealed it in a plastic zip bag, and called the police. They came the next morning, took the photo and the paper bag, but nothing ever came of it. They said no one lived in that house. It had been empty for years. I never saw that man again. But every Halloween after that, a plain brown paper bag would appear on our porch. No note, no candy, just a single Polaroid inside. Each year, the photo was taken a little bit closer. I was 17 the last time I went trick-or-treating. I know, too old for it. But my younger sister begged me to go with her that year because our parents were working late. So I threw on a hoodie, grabbed a cheap mask, and followed her around the neighborhood. We lived in a quiet town where every porch light glowed orange and kids laughed up and down the streets. It was one of those perfect Halloween nights. Cold, calm, and just eerie enough. By 9:30, most families were heading home. My sister was tired and her bag was already full, so we turned onto our street. Our house was the only one still fully lit. I remember her saying, "Let's give out some candy too." So I let her pour the leftovers into a bowl and sit by the door. Around 10 o'clock, the first knock came, 3 soft taps. My sister opened the door to a group of kids, all in costumes, a vampire, a witch, and a skeleton. They said, "Trick or treat," and she laughed, handing them candy, but one of them didn't move. He stood at the edge of the porch, slightly behind the others. He was taller, maybe an adult, wearing a plain white mask and holding up a phone, recording. No sound, no words, just the small red light blinking. When the others left, he stayed still for a few seconds, then slowly turned and walked down the street. We both watched him go until he disappeared behind the trees. I told her to lock the door, just in case. She nodded. We went upstairs, put on a horror movie, and forgot about it. Or at least we tried to. Around 1 a.m., I woke up to the doorbell. Once, then again. 3 slow rings, perfectly spaced. From my window, I could see the porch. Empty. No one was there. The motion sensor light flicked on, then off. I was about to go back to bed when my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "You looked cute tonight." My stomach dropped. The message included a photo. Me and my sister standing in the doorway, handing out candy. The angle was the same as the porch camera, but ours had been disconnected months ago. I woke my sister, locked every door, every window. We stayed up the rest of the night, waiting for our parents. When they got home, they checked the front yard. No footprints, no signs anyone had been there. The next day, I looked through our Halloween footage from years past. I found one video from the year before. It was grainy, taken from a phone. In the reflection of our front window, you can see someone standing just beyond the camera's view, wearing the same white mask. I used to work part-time at a local grocery store back in high school. It wasn't much, just stocking shelves and bagging groceries. But the store always held a Halloween night shift event where employees dressed up and gave candy to kids who came in with their parents. It was harmless fun, until last year. That night, I was dressed as a cheap vampire, plastic teeth, black cape, the usual. The store was quiet, the aisles dimly lit except for the front entrance, where a line of kids had formed for the candy table. We were all laughing, taking pictures, handing out treats. Around 8:30 p.m., a man walked in. At first I thought it was just another costume. Tall, wearing a black trench coat and a cracked white porcelain mask. He didn't say anything. He just stood near the door, hands in his pockets, watching. A co-worker asked if he needed help, but he didn't answer. He eventually walked toward the back of the store, near the storage area, the one only employees were supposed to enter. My manager asked me to check on him. I didn't want to, but I grabbed my flashlight and went. The back corridor was silent, except for the faint hum of the freezers. I called out, "Sir, that area's off limits." No response. I checked behind the pallets and boxes, the flashlight beam trembling just a little in my hand. When I turned the corner, I saw movement. Someone stepping behind a metal rack. The sound of shoes scraping on the floor. I froze, and then the porcelain mask peeked around the corner. It tilted its head slowly, like studying me. I shouted again, this time louder, but my voice echoed and felt small. He didn't move. He just stood there, half hidden, his breathing loud enough that I could hear it even over the buzz of the lights. When I finally took a step back, he started walking toward me. Calm, deliberate steps, one after another. I bolted out of there, shouting for my manager. But when we went back seconds later, the storage area was empty. We checked the cameras. No one matching that description had entered the store that night, just employees and families. And here's the part that still keeps me up. When we replayed the footage from the aisle near the storage door, you could see me standing there, flashlight in hand, talking to no one. The police came, searched the building, nothing. They said maybe it was stress or a prank. But 2 nights later, when I got home from my shift, there was something waiting on my porch. A cracked white porcelain mask and a note. "You shouldn't have followed me." Sometimes the scariest faces on Halloween aren't part of the costume.